Hello, this is Dr. Scott Harrington coming to you live from my virtual doctor's office at veganprimarycare.com, where you can see a vegan doctor as your primary care doctor virtually from most US states, not just as a one-time consultation, but as your primary care doctor, someone who gets to know you, someone who can be your health advocate. Because I'm licensed in most US states, even if you move, you don't have to change doctors. If you are vegan, then get a doctor who gets you. If you haven't adopted a plant-based diet yet, you are still welcome to be my patient. But beware, diet, exercise, and lifestyle changes will always be my first recommendation. My goal for you is to take control of your health, and through the power of a healthy lifestyle, we will work to heal your chronic conditions and will help you get off your chronic medications. In other announcements, we are now offering vegan primary care patients free weekly weight loss check-ins with the weight loss accountability visit on a private group Zoom meeting Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will share our weight loss tips and tricks among the vegan primary care community. If you're one of my patients interested, simply sign into your Zoom link, my virtual office address, and join the meeting. I look forward to seeing you there and sharing your successes and useful tips to help all of our members succeed in their weight loss journey. Remember that this content is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This video is not intended to take place of your own doctor's advice. Okay, we are streaming on multiple platforms and ready to take your questions. Okay, I have included a link to be invited into this broadcast. If you would like, we could work that out. The link is in the comments section. I also wanted to go ahead and remind folks that I do now have an in-person doctor's office shared with Michelle Zatuni, the esteemed pulmonologist and sleep doctor who is also my classmate at the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. She has allowed me to have a room in her office, and one day a week I'm down in Pinellas Park seeing patients in person. So I know that I have a telemedicine practice, but if you're in Florida and you want to be seen in person, you can be seen in Pinellas Park. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to a presentation here. Let's do this. All right. So I can't see my video, but I can see what I'm presenting here. So one of the things I wanted to go over today was calorie density. Now, a lot of times when we're working out different diets, we're working out, we have special rules and we think about it. But this kind of helps with the theory of why the vegan diet is so specifically a whole food plant-based diet is so powerful, and why you can pretty much eat as much as you want and feel satisfied and full and still lose weight, or at least maintain your weight down to what's typical as your 18-year-old weight. So BMI 22 to 24. And so what you see here in this slide is a stomach filled with about 500 calories of various foodstuffs. So on one side, fruit and vegetables pretty much fill up your stomach entirely, and they're for 100 to 600 calories per pound, and 500 calories of potatoes, rice, and beans it's not going to be as filling, but it's going to be more calorie dense. So oftentimes, that's not all we're eating. We're also eating other fruits and vegetables filling up our stomach. But this gives you an idea that as the calorie density goes up, you may feel less and less full, and you may feel required to eat more. So meat is a higher calorie density food as you move farther along. And you'll see that meat, cheese, and oil is very calorie dense. And so you can fill your stomach with, hundreds and hundreds of calories of these foods. And so it causes you to basically overeat your calories. And in the long run, you're going to gain weight. So here's an example of low calorie density foods between 100 and 600 calories, whole grains, whole fruit, non-starchy veggies such as squash, zucchini. And then as you move up a little bit higher up, you have your starchy vegetables like potatoes, corn, peas, and squash. And then it gets higher even, beans and peas. And then cereals are even more calorie dense, like oatmeal, compared to the watery vegetables, the non-starchy vegetables. And then you get into the yellow section here, moderate calorie density, dried fruit, avocado, things like hummus, because there's a little bit of oil in hummus, puffed rice, and it's not as bad as potato chips, but the calorie density is going up and up, and breads, and these things are moderate calorie density, and you kind of got to be careful. If you're in a weight loss diet, you want to treat these as a yellow light. Yellow, you want to be careful. You don't want to eat too much of these. And then the very, very high calorie density foods, meats, nuts, fats, salad dressings, energy bars, chips, crackers, cookies. Certainly nuts and things like that are healthy foods, healthy fats, but when you're trying to lose weight, you want to limit them maybe to just a handful. You want to treat them with respect because they're very dense. Okay. Next thing I want to point out is that with all my patients, I share my food log with this awesome app called the 8 app. Sometimes you'll see it as the U8 app. It's on iOS and Android. This is a great app. And I just put on everything I eat. I simply snap a picture. It's very easy to do. And my patients can see what I'm eating and we share it. I can see what they're eating. And it offers a chance for us to share recipes and this sort of thing. It is a great time. And it's a great asset to my practice and my patients. They love it. And it keeps me on track as well as keeps them on track. So it's great. Once again, reminder, on Tuesday nights, we have the Get to Your Goal weight loss meeting where we all check in on Zoom. The patients who are interested can come in and share their pearls and pitfalls for the week. And it keeps us all on track for weight loss goals. I just wanted to point out the different states that I'm currently licensed in. It allows for folks who are in Nebraska or Wyoming or Alaska to be my patient. If they don't have a local vegan doctor, that they can always be seen by me with Vegan Primary Care. Several states on the East Coast will be coming soon. And then one of the questions that people sort of have is like, what do you think about the heart and lung exam? If we're just doing telemedicine and I'm not in Florida, what about that? If there's concerns about this and you want to get the full exam, for instance, an ear exam, you can get this device called the Untitled Care device. I have a code, it's $75 off if you get this device, and you can get it at titlecare.com. I don't have any incentive I don't get any kickback from this device, but it allows me to do the exam. So my incentive is to get a full exam. So this is a great device. It really works. It has AI capability to help you like doing the ear exam and getting it all right, getting the locations for the lung exam. So this is a great device and it really works. If you're in an area and you want it to have full capability for primary care, you can use this device. Okay, I am back. I'm done with my presentation and ready to take your comments. Okay. All right. We have a question from Jean. Jean Ryan, can you please talk about B12 supplements? Okay, thanks, Jean. Thanks for the question. Okay, so I recommend that people under 50 get 500 micrograms of B12 and people over 50 get 1,000 micrograms of B12. When you look at the actual requirements, it might be, 4 to 6 micrograms of B12, and this seems like a ridiculous over treatment. But the question is the absorption, and so we kind of want to overshoot on this one. And so there can be issues with absorption, and it's better to be taken on an empty stomach. And this is appropriate even for kids. We want to have our kids, if they're plant-based, be taking B12 as well. You can get gummies, you can get sprays. Now, cyanocobalamin is the cheapest, but it also works really well and has reasonable absorption. So cyanocobalamin is the recommended form of B12. There's also methylcobalamin, which is more expensive, but it doesn't work necessarily any better than the cyanocobalamin. And so there is a misconception that we have to have, injections, and injections are required for people who have poor absorption. But in general, all that's required is an oral supplement. So folks who are omnivores oftentimes are also deficient in B12. So I think everyone should be taking this because if you happen to be low, it could have an effect on lots of things, but we worry mostly about the nervous system. And so if you're not taking B12, don't be cavalier. Don't be cavalier. At first, I was not taking it, believe it or not. I'll be the first one to mention it. But when I tested myself, I found out that I was low. And so I was being cavalier. I was trying to get it through nutritional yeast and food and stuff like that. But I was wrong. I was low. And I recommend that you take it. All right. Thank you, Gene. All right. Karen says, we're so glad to have you at the Pinellas Park office. Thank you, Karen. Thank you so much. You're being a good cheerleader for me. I appreciate it. Okay. All right. Okay, so we have a question. Christian says, I want to know the best one to take. Christian, you might be talking about what is the best B12 version to take. Once again, I recommend the cyanocobalamin. It's relatively cheap. It's a good idea if you get a supplement that has a USP. This is a third-party company that will review the supplement to make sure that there's not heavy metals inside the supplement, and a supplement that is what it says it is. There is Kirkland's brand. There's a Nature Made brand. These are both USP certified supplements. I don't own stock in any of that stuff. I just recommend those because they're relatively inexpensive, and we should all be taking B12. And there we go. Thanks, Christian. All right. Nikki Van Valkenburg says, that is a really good point about calorie density. Hey, Nikki, how's it going? Thank you so much for the comment. It's always good to see you here, Nikki. Okay. Trevor Banerjee says, great content. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. Here's a question from Karen. How long does it take for your blood vessels to clear out plaque after going plant-based? Well, this is a great question, Karen. The main goal once people switch from a diet that's high in cholesterol and it's an artery clogging diet is that we want to improve our vascular health. Vascular health relates to all the different aspects of the body because everything has blood vessels. So, all organ systems. But when you're dealing with vascular repair, when studied by Dr. Dean Ornish and Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, it took months and months for them to notice a significant reduction in the coronary artery diameter when they did the cardiac catheterizations. From what I remember, I believe it was 9 months to 12 months for a retest when they tested, and I think they even had longer follow-ups for many of their patients. And so the important thing is that switching to a plant-based diet, you can help to sort of stop the further blockage and help to slowly reverse chronic illness. When you switch to a plant-based diet, certain things you notice immediately. Like, for instance, in a couple days, constipation starts to improve. And after about 3 or 4 days, you're cured of constipation. And it doesn't come back unless, you become severely dehydrated or you travel and you're not eating, a whole food plant-based and, that sort of thing. But that happens in a couple days. You start to, joint pain takes, about 2 weeks. You start to have reduced joint pain. After about 6 weeks, you have dramatic improvements in inflammation, acne improves. And so, blood pressure can take longer, but, you can see reductions in cholesterol pretty much right away when you stop eating extra cholesterol in your diet. So more and more on that, but that is a great question, Karen. Jean Ryan asks, how can we tell which supplements are good? Which ones are the best? So yeah, I recommend that USP. It is a sticker that you see on the supplements, and it is an organization that's reasonably trusted to help you determine whether there's heavy metals and things, and what's in the bottle is actually in the bottle. So one of the problems is the supplement industry is really big, and there's stories of supplements not containing what they're supposed to or containing other products that might be harmful for you. And that is kind of a problem for the vegans who are looking for vegan supplements. And so ideally, you'd have a vegan supplement that is USP certified. So if there's folks in the comments who want to mention the ones that they have found, that's good. There is a brand. I'm not going to pull it up right now because I'm gonna be delayed. But there's several brands that a lot of the folks really like. I think it's called My Kind Organics. You'll notice there's several different vegan versions of different vitamins, but there's not very many that I've noticed that have the USP and the vegan documentation. So this is you are stuck kind of trusting. But go ahead, and if you have your favorite version, go ahead and put it in the comments. Okay. Just scrolling down the comments here. All right. Okay. We got Dayum Sun. Dayum Sun says, hi, doctor. Hello. All right. Lena says, I'm vegan, but my cholesterol is so high. Is this genetics? Okay. All right, Lena. So yes, you can have familial hyperlipidemia, familial hypercholesterolemia. This is when you're genetically predisposed to having high cholesterol. So this is a problem, and you shouldn't ignore it. And you should do everything you could do to reduce your cholesterol, certainly by eating no animal products. And the other thing, the next step after you're with that is making sure you're having a high fiber diet full of plant sterols. You've seen on Cheerios, an oat cereal where it says that it's in this heart plate or heart bowl, and they're suggesting that the plant sterols in oats are proven to reduce cholesterol. It's not that Cheerios have anything special about them other than the oats and whole grains, that these things have plant sterols and are proven to help reduce cholesterol. So that's number 2. At first, stop eating animal products. Eggs are very high in cholesterol. Meat is very high in cholesterol. Liver, we tend to not eat too much liver as much as we probably used to, but these things are really, really high in cholesterol, so you should definitely stop those. The next things are plant sterols, plant fibers, insoluble plant fibers. These things help to scrub cholesterol, help you pass cholesterol. And then the next thing that you have to be careful with is saturated fat intake. Saturated fat disrupts the receptors on the liver that pull cholesterol back into the liver for processing. So as you increase your saturated fat, your cholesterol in the blood also goes up. So those are things you got to be careful. So how do vegans get saturated fat? Well, there is some saturated fat in nuts, but the things that really get us are the coconut oil, the palm oil, and cocoa butter. So these are the tropical fats that are high in saturated fats. So when you have peanut butter that has had palm oil in it, so that it is a no-stir peanut butter, this is basically bad for you. The palm oil contains saturated fat, and it's not good. So you want to get the natural peanut butter, the peanut butter that is just ground up peanuts, and you'll see a layer of oil on the top. That usually means it doesn't contain palm oil. It's natural. Look for the word natural on it. Okay, that was a good question, Lena. Also, if you find that despite doing these techniques, despite doing, no meat, eating high plant sterols, you can even supplement with plant sterols. There's a brand called Blue Bonnet Plant Sterols, and decreasing saturated fat. If all this is, you're doing all this and you still have super high cholesterol, I actually recommend taking the standard medication. Gold standard medication is a statin for this, but that is after you've tried all these other things. People sometimes ask me, in vegan primary care, because I'm a vegan doctor, does that mean that, I'm somehow alternative and not, don't stick to the typical recommendations? And the answer is yes. I'm a gold standard family practice doctor. I recommend medications when required. But what other doctors oftentimes overlook is the lifestyle changes that can improve and sometimes reduce the amount of medications that you require. So this is always the first recommendations. But if you need, you can always be prescribed medications here at Vegan Primary Care. Okay, Jean has a question. Should we take 1,000 micrograms of B12 in one dose or multiple doses throughout the day? Jean, you've stumped Dr. Harrington. I'm not sure of the evidence on this one. I do know that taking B12 on an empty stomach improves absorption, but I don't know if taking it twice a day would be more beneficial. I assume yes, because then you'd have multiple chances for it to be absorbed. But I'm not sure. So I'm going to have to look at that one up. B12, multiple times. Good question. All right. Okay, Katie Durante says, what should a person eat when they have cancer? First off, if you do have cancer, Katie, I'm so sorry that you're dealing with that. That is you. But I am glad that you asked the question, because from my experience, the vegan diet, the plant-based diet, the whole food plant-based diet, low in oil and salt and sugar, is the best diet for being. If you have cancer, you want to be on this diet as your baseline, because it is a cancer-fighting diet. Now, I can't guarantee, or we can't make any assumptions that just by switching to a plant-based diet that you would cure your cancer, although there are miraculous case studies and stories, and you hear over and over again different people who have had great success by switching to a plant-based diet. So in terms of their specific cancers, some cancers have specific dietary treatments that may be specifically helpful, such as with breast cancer, endometrial cancer, things like soy with the phytoestrogens having somewhat of a almost estrogen blocking behavior where it counts. And so some things like these different soy products, lignans from flaxseed, ground flaxseed, can also be helpful. And so sulforaphane from cruciferous vegetables, specifically broccoli, have cancer-fighting properties, especially in the petri dish and when studied in humans. Plant-based diet has been proven to reverse slow-growing prostate cancer in men when studied by Dean Ornish. So, I mean, there are studies that show the plant-based diet can reverse, but depending on your specific cancer or that sort of thing, it may be helpful or not. But you definitely want to be on this diet at least as the baseline for so many other reasons too. For its potential to reverse coronary artery disease, our number one killer, for, decreased heartburn, improved, kidney stones, blood pressure, all these other things. The cool thing about the plant-based diet is it works for many different medical problems. And therefore, it should be the #1 diet until proven otherwise, even when you have problems such as cancer. So, Katie, that was a good question. Okay. All right. We're coming to get towards the end of the presentation. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and enter it into the chat box. Also, if you get a chance, like this live and or subscribe. If it's on YouTube, subscribe, like the channel. That would be great. If you're on YouTube, if anybody's watching today, go over to YouTube, Vegan Primary Care, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Once I get 100 subscribers, I can change the name to YouTube/Vegan Primary Care, and that would help me out a lot. If you like the content, that would be very helpful. Okay. All right, let me go back to see if we have any other questions. All right. And then later on, when the live is closed out, if you ask any questions on the various platforms, I will be answering them later too. If you have very specific questions about your health, send me a direct message on Facebook, and if we need, we'll make an appointment. But I think we'll go from there. Thank you, everybody, for attending today, and I look forward to seeing you each week on Wednesday at 12 noon. Okay. Till next week. Bye-bye.